welcome to the Liverpool Community Podcast. I'm your host, Chase Johnson Lynch, and once again, we're here in the studio with a guest that I wanted to hear a lot from, and I feel you would like to hear a lot from this person as well, and everything. And so here I'm joined by Joanne Huddart from Elevate. How you doing, Joanne?
I'm very well, thank you, Chase.
Did you like my, that dynamic
Very
voice
formal,
thing?
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I only put it on for the intro. But no, I mean, basically, what's interesting to me about Elevate, just from my perspective, is that we've been working with you guys for some time now. And I really felt like, it would really be good to find out, kind of like behind the scenes a little bit, about such an organization as yours. As you say, now, she had to make it a point that it was like, I don't know what they call that when you're British royalty. Oh, BEM, right? So it was Elevated EBD.
EBP, Education Business Partnership.
All right. I can't make that happen again. Yeah, okay. Don't worry about it.
We'll get there.
Feel like they're going to make a mistake. Elevated EBP. That's what happens when I should actually read it from the paper and everything.
Yeah,
and it's a not
like a professional would.
All right, thanks, well, like a professional would. And it's a not-for-profit organization.
Yep.
Now, what's interesting to me is that, Joanne, and first of all, Joanne, you're looking lovely today.
Thank you.
It's
very
and
kind.
no one would not know that you've been at Elevate for 30 years now.
I know. Not even old enough.
No, definitely not old enough,
No.
But what's great is the fact that 30 years, I've been here in Liverpool for like 23 years now, but 30 years of employment history, I thought, whoa, this is going to be a fascinating kind of scenario because, like, you rose now to be the head of employment, but you started out in clerical.
Yep.
What is it about Elevate? Because you told me that your staff won't leave. What is it about Elevate that, as an organization, that is the type of place that I don't want to leave?
I think we are a nice organisation to work for. We're very fair. We've got good terms and conditions. So we've got, flexible working, that type of stuff. But I think as well, the content of what we do at Elevate, people buy into. So ultimately, we're bringing the worlds of education and business together. Mm-hmm. We're trying to facilitate opportunities for young people to succeed further on in life. And all of our staff buy into that and our values. So they want to stick around for that. But I also just think we've got a nice management team. We're nice people to work for. We're fair.
Yeah.
So, yeah, why would you leave?
Well, it's just like you were just saying, kind of like as my first question would have been, is like, what is Elevate? But I kind of have asked that. It's like, on a personal level, I think it's what your ethos is, where you say your ethos is around social mobility,
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why people don't want to leave because every time, it's like, even in my times when I was teaching, it's that one lad or girl that, touches you personally, isn't it? And everything. And like you want to make sure that you are a part of their journey moving on. And you want to do it again.
Yeah.
And then again and again.
Yeah.
And would you say that's probably what Elevate is all about? Just that kind of ethos of wanting to support people on their journeys.
Absolutely. So it's our mission to work with all young people. So we work with schools, colleges, training providers. And it, through that we work with positively with all the young people we come into contact with. But a lot of those young people will already have really positive role models. They'll already have dead good connections. But a lot of young people that we work with don't. They might not have those positive role models to aspire to, no networks to think of as such. So
those that probably fell through the cracks or
yeah.
The cracks.
So I suppose it's our mission to make sure that every young person is given equal opportunities to succeed in life, and we make sure that happens through a variety of programs. So it's just it's social mobility.
Yeah.
We want every young person to have the same opportunity to be able to succeed.
Now, as part of like what you offer, and we're talking about like on a weekly basis
Yeah.
at several different schools. I think you said something about how many?
So across the Liverpool City region, there's probably about 140 odd schools, but we do not work with 140 odd schools.
Okay,
Yeah.
but a lot.
But the spread is across the Liverpool City region, yeah.
And but so on a weekly basis, you're asking professionals, and this is kind of like a part of the call out people. You're asking professionals to come out to give up their time to do several different things, such as.
So we've got a variety of what we call, our offer a service. So some of the careers type opportunities that we offer to schools and colleges would be work experience placements, practice interviews, meet the professionals events, careers fairs. Employers can just come in and talk to young people within an assembly format. So it's about us providing as many employer encounters or contacts to young people as we can, so they're getting a variety of experiences of the world of work or exposure into the world of work.
Now I'm going to speak as an employer here because being one that has experienced these carousels and these events, I got to tell you how tickled pink I am sometimes. When young people come up to our tables. I mean, you've been there too, right, Phil? Mm-hmm. They come up to the, table with a piece of paper and they go, when did you start?
But that's the point.
Yeah,
because
no.
That's the first time I've ever having to interact with an employee, with a stranger, someone you've never met before. So the first time's always going to be a bit naff.
Yeah.
But then you get to do it again and again and again.
Which
and
is why they're going around in a circle to several different
and then
employers.
you're building confidence, the communication skills get better, and then they might do that in year 9, then they might do it again in year 10. By the time they leave school, those communication skills have increased tenfold because they've been put in that room, being made to feel uncomfortable, but it's for their gain in the end.
Yeah. I mean, and like I would ask you, like I said, like in your experience at time of watching these things unfold, kind of like highlights. But can I give you a highlight?
Yeah.
Attending one of these fairs. I was at a table with a partner, Gemma, who does fashion, and this little girl from, I believe it was, I can name school, right? Litherland, right, and everything like that, and can't really, I'm an American, can't really tell what the age was, but she was talking about how she enjoys sewing. And like how like she would be tasked with, remaking clothes in her family. It's like, because some families, like you just said, are hard times and whatever thing. Because it was kind of like, what do you like doing? Was the question that was asked of her. But then Gemma was able to then tap into that and explain to her about what they offer, like as far as upskilling or. What do you call it? Upcycling. Thank you, Phil. Upcycling clothes.
Yeah.
And everything. And would you be interested in something like that? Did you know that that's a job?
Yeah.
And the girl didn't know that's a job, right? And then I said, well, hey, being a filmmaker guy, like, do you know there's like wardrobe design and costume department and all that, and there's people that have to dress people on the sets and stuff. Did you know that? And she said, no, I didn't know that, and everything. And she left with a spring in her step, I would feel. And it was that kind of connection that you can only get in those moments of actually, one, participating in such an opportunity and finding somebody who might benefit from your own personal experience. And I think that's, for me, what Elevate's about.
I agree. So in that moment, you probably gave her hope and aspiration. So she'll have walked in that room thinking, I can sew, so okay, I can be a dressmaker.
So what?
But you then you probably give her another 10, at least 10 opportunities of potential jobs that she now knows. She puts her head down, she knuckles down. There's so much more out there for her. So as an employer coming into that school, you've opened up her horizons.
Yeah.
And she's now got more opportunity in front of her, and that's what we need, because otherwise she'll have been oblivious. Even within one organisation, we can think of the very obvious job roles, but there's all the behind the scenes stuff that young people just don't know about, even we don't know about. So you will have given her hope in that moment.
And I mean, but also too is I think that's the purpose of every business who wants to give back, and being able to have that opportunity to do that. It's like, how can I give back if I'm a business owner, and everything like that? And with these things that are going on across the region, across the weeks or whatever, Elevate is a place to check out. Now, also too is the fact that what I found it. I'm not going to say what I found it strange, but interesting. You said that you're not funded.
No.
And everything like that. But initially you were. I mean, the program that you were part of was. So, I mean, tell me about that. Go back into the past. Dig into the crates.
Obviously, because I've been there for 30 years,
Yes.
if we go way back, what we did then, which is still what we do now, was it was statutory within schools. So when something's statutory, it's got funding allocated to it and it's ring fenced. So we were able to go to schools at that point and say, well, we can help you meet that statutory requirement with that ring fenced budget that you've got. So that money wasn't given to us, but it was ring fenced towards type of organisations that we were. So it was much easier to be able to go to schools and say, we can do this, and they say, right, great, here's the money for that. That funding was taken away. Work-related learning and enterprise was made non-statutory about 14, 15 years ago. So the funding went with that. And then as a result of that, because we were SEFT and EBP then, because there was an EBP in every borough, as a result of that lack of funding, some EBPs, they didn't survive that change for loads of different reasons. So that's when we rebranded and decided to become Elevate, and decided to cover the Liverpool City region because there wasn't another one of us in those other areas. So it just gave us an opportunity to branch out, but we were also trying to plug that gap in those areas where there wasn't one of us. So that's a bit of history.
Now the thing about it is that, like, even though one could say, wow, with all of those schools and being in the region and everything and being out there for several years, you must be set. You must be Happy Larry or whatever they call it, right? But then you're not, because every year you have to recommission.
Yeah.
So tell us about that, because it's about not being guaranteed.
Yeah, our funding's never guaranteed, which obviously makes it quite difficult financially. But I've been here 30 years, so it's hard, but it works. But when it comes to schools and us going out to them yearly, schools are given their budget yearly, so they don't know what's come on year. So we recommission with schools every year. We also bid for different pots of funding from different sources of funding, and those bids can last anything from 6 months to 12 months to 2 years. I think the longest what we've gone at the minute is 2.5 years. And then when we secure those pots of funding, we then either recruit to that pot of funding or we use staff if we've got capacity. So it's tough in that we're juggling a lot and we're always looking for funding year on year. And I guess, the ideal scenario is we have 2 to 3 years of contracts with schools, but that's difficult for them as well because their budgets come in yearly. So we're looking for.
Your staff has grown. So,
we're at the biggest now.
You're at like 18 now.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 18 people who won't leave. That's like having your cousins over for Thanksgiving. Dude, it's time. You ever have that guy at your house, Phil? It's like, dude, it's time to leave. There's no food left. Oh, it was me? All right. Thanks, Phil. Never been in his house. No.
I'm not laughing.
No, of course not. I am. In here. Anyway, something new coming up. Because I often ask what's like coming up. And I mean, now, there's a new guidance and everything. So, and I mean, I think we kind of know the old guys ourselves because we offer creative boot camping to you guys and everything, where we take young people for 5 days.
Yeah.
And everything. But now you are saying that there's a new guidance that's just coming this year, where it's looking for the young people need 10 days of work experience.
Yeah. So, new guidance is that young people throughout the course of their education, so in both Key Stage 3, Key Stage 4, so first year to fifth year, depends on how old we are, they require 10 days worth of experience of the workplace. So what you guys offer, I guess, is a more traditional, students come to you for 5 days, they do a 5-day week worth of work experience with you. But these 10 days can be it can be a workplace visit. It can be lots of different things that employers can offer. So it doesn't have to be hosting a student for 5 days, 5 days on the trot. It can be inviting them in for a tour of the workplace, but there's got to be 10 days during the course of their education. And in order for us and schools to hit that requirement, we absolutely do require more support from business and from employers across the Liverpool City region. Lots of businesses and employers help us enormously, but we always need more, and from a variety of sectors across the Liverpool City region. So I guess my plea from Elevate is that you can take a student on work experience placement. We've still got all those other stuff going on, the meet the professionals, the practice interviews, the careers fairs. But it might be that you can open up you might be able to open up the studio to 10 or 15 young people just to come in for a couple of hours to hear from you guys, to hear what your jobs, your career path. So it doesn't always have to be that 5-day stint. There's lots of other ways that employers can help support that guidance.
Yeah, but I mean, actually, again, based on our experience, because I think it helps to understand what Elevate provides, is that you want to actually, if you're going to take young people in, and they're going to learn about your business, and they're going to learn about whether or not I want to go into a business like this, or I want to do something like this, you want to give them that tactile, kinesthetic feeling. They have to touch stuff. And this is expensive stuff and everything. I'm always told that I break stuff, but when they have to touch stuff, and that's what's cool is when they're on the microphones here, doing a podcast, or they're in the studio making music and everything. It's not about coming in and just making coffee. I mean, in some of your feedback that you may have heard. I guess this is part of highs and lows. It's not a low against maybe, but I'm talking about as far as work experience is concerned. Yeah, because that wouldn't be really that cool, right? It's great that a business takes a young person in, but it's trust, isn't it? You could trust a young person, and all the young people that have come through this project have been excellent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've been respectful, and they got stuck into whatever was asked of them. And that's what I think you have to be able to be willing to do, is to trust them to go onto your computer, to operate the cameras. Yeah. What is your opinion around that?
You do, but some employers have limitations as to what they can offer. You guys have got a really good programme on, and that's why it probably works really well for the students, because there's no time to be bored. They're occupied the whole time here. You've got a really good setup, a good programme, and don't underestimate teaching them how to make a cup of coffee, because I had feedback from a mum who said, her son's 15 and he comes home, what have you done today? Nothing. He come home from his work experience, made her a cup of coffee and started chatting to her about his day. So nice. it was part. She was gobsmacked. But yeah, the reason it works here is I guess it's the partnership. You've created a really good programme, and you can facilitate the students for 5 days, and they get a lot from it because of the input you put in. Not all employers can facilitate that level of programme, so if they can offer a visit or a couple of hours session, that's just as beneficial in some other ways, and that can help with younger students because they can't go out on a 5-day placement anyway. But yeah, there's lots of different ways that employers can help us out with that 10 days worth of work experience, and we can support them to create whatever it is they think they can offer. We can be, as I said, with that link between education and business.
Well, like you said, I mean, every business is different.
Yeah.
And everything and all that kind of stuff. So if you do have a business that is an office-based business and everything like that, so obviously, yeah, you probably just need, that kind of stuff. And it's always just good that they've gone to a place to be able to do something.
Yeah.
Now, what I also thought was interesting is that, especially, working with you guys is that there's a lot of FE schools on your system and your calendar and everything like that. But it seems like maybe I could say once a year or whatever, but it seems like you also work with colleges as well. Elevate is in college as well.
Yeah, we work with colleges. Like I say, we work with schools, colleges, training providers, and it can differ from one year to the next. So we might work with a college one year, then we don't work with the next, we work with them next year. It's all to do with funds and it's all to do with cost in terms of the budgets that are in colleges. But we do get a lot of colleges coming to us to run the likes of their Meet the Professionals events or careers fairs. And I guess one of the main reasons they come to us is they need very sector specific. So once you're in college, you've got young people who have got an idea of what they want to do.
Yeah.
They've chosen the vocation, so it's about us matching those employer encounters or those employer events with the courses and the vocations that they've got on offer in colleges. So we can be more specific when we're recruiting. So if we can say to you guys, listen, we've got 15 students who are interested in media or digital or whatever it is, and then it's a much more specific ask when you're going into the college. So you're going to get a bit more feedback. So you spoke about that young person in year 10 who was reading off a script, and that was his first encounter with an employer. Whereas if you're going into college, they've maybe done that 2 or 3 times already.
Yeah.
Bit more idea of what they want to do.
And they've gone through the market, the reviews.
Yeah, and we're really encouraging both schools and colleges to do more prep and post work with these young people, so it's not a standalone event. So they're prepared to walk into that room and then they reflect on the learning afterwards. But when it comes to you guys going into college, hopefully we've got young people who are a bit more prepared and an idea of what they want to do as a career. So from an employer's perspective, it's a real sort of link between what they're doing in college and, listen, this is what you can do in my business. There's more of a real connection there, I guess.
I guess what I like is, like, in a way, it's a sign of diversity for Elevate, where it's like we don't want to just stay in one lane.
Yeah, but we have to diverse.
So, we want to be able to move around. Yeah. And look at people who are overlooked. And one of such people is like, you use a term that was interesting, no upper age limit adults. Mm-hmm. You also sometimes, do something with them as well, like a job club type of scenario. Yeah. And everything when you can. When it's funded and stuff. So tell me about that experience. And is that for the same ethos of like saying, oh, well, these are people who also probably need support? Yeah,
so as well as working with young people who... so apart from the core market of young people, we have specific projects that are aimed at young people who might be at risk of not being in school by the time they reach year 11 for loads of different reasons. And then we also work with young people and older people who are unemployed, again, for a number of different reasons. And it's purely funding dependent. But sometimes that funding allows us to not have an upper age limit. So if we can run a number of sessions out in community hubs where we have like CV application form workshops, we get employers in to do practice interviews. So we can sort of mirror image what we do in school, but just for unemployed people. And some specific pots of funding allow us not to put an upper age limit on that. So we can open job clubs up job clubs up to any age within that community. They can come bring the CV along. We can go through how to apply for jobs. If they're on LinkedIn, if they're not on LinkedIn, you know, what your personal branding look like, your social media footprint. So it's not common, but there's occasionally we can not set that upper age limit, but it depends on the funding pot.
No, also cool too, because this is also a part too for people who, like, you know, from their thinking it's like, I'm supposed to retire at 65, but I'm still spry.
Yeah.
So I mean, I still want to do something. I mean, you know what's going on, and then so it's like, you know, what could I do? And then so they would probably be like interested in something like that.
Yeah.
You know, and everything. You know,
Especially if they're keen to get back into work. Yeah.
Yeah. That's your story, isn't it, Phil?
Is it?
Phil, you know it is. Yeah. See, you know, that's how Phil got involved with Big Gun, though, because he came into that whole no upper age limit.
I came in on a training course, that's absolutely right.
That's all I was asking for, Phil. Why could he just say that? He's like, well, that's not my job, Chase. I can't do that. I just can't give you a straight answer. So anyway, before we go, though, Joanne, I just want to just say, like, you know, it's hard to encapsulate 30 years of experience in, like, you know, a small little bite chunk, obviously. So maybe I should say, do you have, like, a special memory of these times besides the people that you work with, obviously, and the young people that you've seen, you know, cross the threshold? I mean, anything over time that is special to you that you want to remember?
So I think, I just I love working at the EBP, always have done. Apart from being a lovely place to work, what we do is it's rewarding. It's rewarding. Like I say, we get to help a lot of young people who, without those interventions, might go down a very different path. And there's probably one young person who does stand out to me. Can I speak about a young person? I won't mention his name.
Please do. I did.
There's one particular young person. I met him in school. He'd not long lost his mum. He was in with the wrong crowd. Dad was really worried, and it was a slippery slope. It was. Mm-hmm. And he was a lovely kid. So we fixed him up with an employer. And he went out and did an extended work experience placement. So in year 10, you can go out with an employer one day a week. And he did that. And then that continued into year 11. And then that continued into an apprenticeship. So as a result of that intervention, but more importantly, as a result of that young person realising the opportunity that he'd been given, I believe he took a very different path. He's taken a really successful path, and the alternative, you know, it could have been very, very different for him. But as a result of the employer supporting us, because we can't do it without them, as a result of that employer giving him a chance, because it wouldn't have been easy. He would have been a little minx at times. It would have been hard to handle, but they had the patience, the understanding, and the empathy to realise that he needed a second chance. He was given that, and as a result of that, and school recognised he needed it. As a result of that, he's successful now, and he's got a good job, and he's got a life ahead of him. So there's moments like that where that's why we do it. That's why I'm still here. You
know, I love stories like that. You know, I mean, you know, like I said, dealing with young people, it's that whole thing of seeing them change and blossom, and, you know, and being a part of it. You know what I mean? It's just amazing. So, no, Joanne, I would like to thank you for joining me here in the studio. You know, suffering through Phil. I know it was sufferable. But, you know, attitude. But, no, I'm kidding.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, you know what? You know, thank you, Joanne. And, I mean, please, Elevate EBP.
Education Business Partnership.
You know, this P looks like a D, I swear.
Elevate EBP.
Say it again to the camera.
All right, yeah.
Not you.
No.
Joanne, say it again.
Elevate Education Business Partnership.
How can people find you?
You can find us on social media, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, Elevate EBP, our website, elevateebp.co.uk. You can pick up the phone to us. We're really easy to find.
Yeah.
We're quite in your face.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can find us.
Yeah. And please, if you're also able to support this organization as well, you know, as a business owner
Yeah.
or a business person, please, you know, I think they could use more with all the people and the time frames.
Yeah. Always.
that they're visiting
Always
season.
need businesses, always looking for new employers to support us. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, again, thank you, Joanne
Thank you.
Huddart and Phil and everything. And I'm Chase Johnson Lynch, and please like and subscribe. You know, and yeah, it's not as bad as Phil wants you to think. But for now, we out of here.